Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Paschatya Desatadine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This topic is getting up there now. A taste for the holy name. Maybe you recall the song that the youth group sang, Kevalastaka, Madhuram Madhurebhyopi, sweeter than the sweetest. So something that's very sweet, tastes nice. And especially it's very nice for the honeybee to taste the honey of the holy name. The English translation was done pretty quickly, so I'm going to do it a little more slowly. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi. Here's the verse in its fullness, the first verse. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harirnameva Kevalam. Translation: more sweet than all other sweet things. Madhu is sweet, and it's the superlative amongst all sweet things. Mangala, more auspicious than all other auspicious things. Pavanam, the greatest purifier of all purifying things. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Bees like honey, and bee like devotees, they like the taste of the honey of the holy name. So we're going to just touch on some of our great acharyas and things that they have said about the sweetness of the holy name. One of them is from Sanatana Goswami. He writes in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, nice. The holy name of Krishna is the highest nectar. It is my very life and my only treasure. Sanatana Goswami. From Skanda Purana, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas, the holy name of Krishna is the highest benediction above all other benedictions. It is sweeter than the sweetest honey, the eternal fruit of transcendental knowledge, and the tree of the entire scriptures. Quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Hari Bhakti Vilas is a how-to manual, how to do everything from A to Z in practical life, in devotional life. It was compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami and then given to Sanatana Goswami to refine. So it covers everything. And there's a section where it covers or discusses the chanting of the holy name. Here's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on the second verse of Shikshastaka. The second verse of Shikshastaka, Nam Namakari Bahuda, Nija Sarva Shaktis, etc. The holy name of Krishna is sweeter than the sweetest honey, the most beneficial activity among all auspicious deeds. Some of you may remember we saw this photograph before of Akinchana Das Babaji. I meant to say, later during the week, we're going to visit a number of places in Vrindavan in anticipation of Kartik, because tomorrow Kartik starts. In anticipation of being in Vrindavan for Kartik, we're going to virtually at least take you to places that we'll be visiting during our Kartik Yatra. So one of the places that we'll visit is Pavan Sarovar. Pavan Sarovar is at the base of the residential hill Nandagram where Nanda Maharaj lived, and it's a place where Krishna and Nanda Maharaj took their bath every morning before breakfast. And by the side of Pavan Sarovar, Sanatana Goswami kept his bhajan kutir. And it was a secluded place, more so even than today. Very quiet, very secluded, very simple. And Sanatana Goswami made that one of his principal bhajan kutir places. And some generations later, during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his disciple Akinchana Das Babaji made his samadhi there. Bhajan kutir. Bhajan kutir. And he was known, as I mentioned, he was known for his total absorption in the holy name. Bhakti Siddhanta, here's just a detail about his life. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very strong about the fact that in his temples, the Gaudiya Mat temples, everyone should be fully engaged in service. And one of the temples where Akinchana Das Babaji, then he wasn't a Babaji, but Kinchana Das was staying, he just wanted to chant all day long. And so when Bhakti Siddhanta was visiting that particular temple one time, they complained, the president complained about Akinchana. He doesn't do any service, he just wants to chant. Bhakti Siddhanta understood his qualification, and he said, if you can chant all day long, then you can chant all day long. Most of my disciples can't do that. Akinchana can do that. It's very wonderful that he chants all day long with full absorption. So he was recognized by his spiritual master as having that gift, and everyone similarly, because that was who he was. He loved chanting. So he wasn't an author, he was a chanter, but he wrote one verse. It's quite simple. Chanting the holy name of Krishna is the true nectar. The holy name is like honey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's his right, that's his book. Very simple. Another place where the sweetness and the taste for the holy name is described is in one of Srila Prabhupada's books translated Nectar of Instruction. Some of you know that, especially if you take Bhakti Shastri, you're going to study that book. It's 11 verses. And verse number 7 is about the chanting of the holy name. Syat Krishna Nama Charatadi Sitapya Vidya. Translation reads, the holy name, charita, character, pastimes, adi means etc., and activities of Krishna are all transcendentally sweet like sugar candy. That's this word sita. Sita means mystery or rock candy or sweet condensed sugar candy. the name, etc., is transcendentally sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it tastes bitter. When you have jaundice and you take rock candy, it doesn't taste sweet. It tastes bitter. Now, I heard it, but then I got jaundice, and then I found out it's true. And I know that rock candy doesn't taste bitter, but when I had jaundice, it was like you want to spit it out. It tastes bitter. So, just as the cure for jaundice is taking rock candy, but although it tastes bitter, the cure for our material disease, particularly in this age of Kali, is chanting Krishna's name, and it may not taste sweet, although by its nature it's sweet. So it's wonderful that simply by carefully chanting, that's the underlined adarad, by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Tadgada mulahantri. His disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So the sweetness comes through by chanting even in we're diseased, it doesn't taste sweet. Now, it says here, one who carefully chants every day, simply by carefully chanting these sweet names. So what does carefully chanting look like? What's at the heart of carefully chanting? At the heart is bhakti. So what's bhakti? We went through this. At the heart of bhakti is wanting to please Krishna. Remember, chanting from the heart, with the intention that Krishna should be pleased. Is it possible? Here's a nice example. Maybe you've noticed it. I'm sure it's true here as it's true everywhere else. Young people like kirtan. Yes? You've noticed? It's true here also. Young people like kirtan. So one of the nice things to help young people who like kirtan appreciate kirtan even more is, aside from the enthusiasm you feel for kirtan because A, B, and C, it's social. Music is universal. Everybody loves music. In all cultures of the world, music is life. Life is music. And then, the accompaniment of one another, someone who's particularly good with vocals, someone who's particularly good. So it's the musicality and the social dimension of doing music together. It's nice. So I've had a number of conversations with young people. As you become more proficient with your musical instruments and your vocal and learning melodies and things like that, turn your attention, especially when you're in front of the deities. And it's not just about what you're doing over here, it's about for the pleasure of the deities. It's for the pleasure of the deities. Because in deity worship is made complete by kirtan after the worship is completed. It's like why we have arti. This, of course, we're making offering of incense and ghee lamp, etc. But it's the kirtan before the deity that's particularly the celebration part of all the worship that's just been done. You say it's incomplete without, or it's made complete by joyfully singing Krishna's name before the deity. So it's a nice thing to get young people to understand the musicality that they do when they do music together, directed to the pleasure of Krishna, because that's at the heart of chanting carefully. Bhakti is at the heart of chanting carefully. We can say it's the key to chanting carefully. And when one chants carefully, the jaundiced-like condition becomes cured, and the natural sweetness of the name becomes possible or accessible. So this is just a reminder. You saw this image before. What's at the heart of bhakti? It's the 9 processes, it's what you do, and it's the person who is the object of what you do, and then it's the intention behind the activity directed to Krishna, and that is the desire to please Krishna. And when that is awakened, the intent to please Krishna becomes more condensed or concentrated. That's where the taste comes. Because one can chant uninterruptedly with rapt attention. No, we're not there yet, but that's where we want to go. The initial, it can mature, but the initial mood is that of a servant to the name. Just like same example as earlier. The finger or the hand is a part of the body. The finger or hand is meant to serve the body. Or any part is meant to serve the whole. So since we're part and parcel of Krishna, then just being ready, like the servant, holding out a bell, waiting for the master to ding the bell. That means some service is needed. So if we're chanting in that mood and appropriate to your situation, with everything else that's going on in your life, some opportunity for service, we're ready because the heart is now open. And then the service is done, this is the key. The service is done in the mood of pleasing Krishna. Especially when the activity of chanting is done in the mood of pleasing Krishna. It's a mature stage. And less than mature stages, we just try to focus on hearing and speaking the syllables properly. I shared with Badahari one time, one devotee had written to me saying, I'm really enjoying hearing the holy name 16 rounds a day. I said, that was really nice. Not chanting, but hearing. I'm really enjoying hearing the holy name 16 rounds every day. I shared that with him. I didn't know how he was going to respond, but his response was funny. He said, grabbed his head and said, so many devotees, they don't even chant the Hare Krishna mantra. They're making a sound, but I don't know what were the circumstance, but apparently he was in a circumstance where he was with someone and their chanting wasn't the full mantra. But chanting. So if there's something, the intention to chant is something, but then the intention to chant has some qualities and some characteristics. One young devotee, newly married young devotee, was saying that her husband was listening to her chanting and saying, you're definitely not chanting, you're skipping some syllables in this mantra. She said, I am not. And to prove to her husband that she listened very carefully and she realized that she was missing some syllables to the mantra. You won't even notice until you hear properly. And whatever the motivation is to hear properly, even to prove your husband is wrong, hear properly. And because when you're hearing properly, your mind is attentive. Here's a japa trick. Ready? If you're chanting and you're finding it has become mechanical and you're distracted, etc., try pronouncing the syllables clearly. Because to detect whether or not you're chanting the syllables clearly, you have to hear. It's a trick. When the ear is hearing whether the mantra is being expressed properly or pronunciation is properly with all the syllables or not, you're hearing. And when you're hearing, your mind is there. It's not wandering because you're hearing. And here this is saying, with the intent to please Krishna, uninterruptedly, with rapt attention, one can attend to his holy name, like a servant attends to the call of his master. Such loving, attentive service mood attracts Krishna's mercy. And that strengthens the taste. When the name bestows special mercy, it's just like that verse by Rupa Goswami. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatapita nimatak smarane nikala. No, that's Shikshastakam. Atakshi Krishna Namadi, that verse. Krishna Svayameva Swarachada. Krishna bestows his mercy in the form of you feel his presence. You feel his presence. That's taste. Krishna appears. Svayameva Swarachada. Now, so the topic is how to acquire that taste. We'll go back to the beginning, just like we did the very first evening. In the beginning, according to Rupa Goswami's teachings, again, the bhakti lata, or the creeper, because lata means creeper, the creeper of bhakti, it comes, how does it come? It comes by the combined mercy of Guru and Krishna. You know the verse? By the combined mercy. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhakti Lata Bija. Bija means the seed. The seed of the creeper of Bhakti Lata is given through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And that mercy, we heard already, is some faith, and faith is nourished by that mercy. Faith is nourished just by hearing. Here's Jiva Goswami's commentary on this verse. Shraddha, which develops for bhakti, is endowed with ruchi. Ruchi is taste. So I'm going to go through it this slowly. So look at the screen, follow the words. It's how do we awaken a taste for chanting? Rupa Goswami is teaching us that even in the beginning stage, chanting with faith, embedded within that chanting with faith, within the holy name, is ruchi. And this shraddha, or faith, is none other than the seed of the bhakti lata. So I'll say it again a couple of times in different language, but it's the same message. How does bhakti begins by the combined mercy of Guru and Krishna. The verse says, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a living entity is wandering through the whole universe, species after species, life after life, this situation, that situation, wandering and wandering up and down, all over the place. Somehow, by special mercy of Guru and Krishna, one receives the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of the Bhakti Creeper. So what's that seed? That seed is Shraddha. So let's say it again. Here's a apparent contradiction. Here's a contradiction. Here's a statement, and it looks like a contradictory statement. How do you resolve them? Here we go. Bhakti is inherent within the heart of every living entity. Correct? Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema, not only Bhakti, Krishna Prema in its dormant stage is within the heart of every living entity. I'll say it again. Krishna Prema is within the heart of every living entity because the heart of every living entity is the soul. The soul inherently has Krishna Prema, but it's not awakened. It's forgotten. Our relationship with this is our topic for this retreat. Our relationship with Krishna is forgotten. Where did it go? Get covered by Maya. How did it get covered by Maya? We wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. I want to enjoy separate from Krishna. Wait a minute, there's no enjoyment separate. There's no such thing. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy. All right. Here's an illusion. It's gonna be suffering. I want to enjoy. Okay. At your risk. Wait a minute. There's no enjoyment over here. I want to go back. It's not easy to go back. We discussed this. We're trying to go back, and it's not easy to go back because we're attached. Same topic as before. So how does that faith in serving Krishna instead of serving the illusory sense of happiness? How do you get it? You get it from one who has it. So it's dormant, but it needs to be awakened. So the awakening agent is Guru. Just by definition.